My ex raped me and I didn't know it, and because of this, I said that a girl who was raped was not, and I think it's time that I take some accountability for that. So, for context, I was watching this video of a woman and she was talking about cancel culture and how she feels that because people can grow, someone shouldn't be canceled for something that they said years ago. And I was thinking to myself, have I ever said anything, just out of pure ignorance that could get me canceled? Because, mind you, I'm not racist, homophobic, transphobic, all the phobics. I am not those. And so once I did sit down and think about it, there is one comment that I made years ago before I knew any better that, in all honesty, at the time, if someone had read it, I should have been canceled. So basically, there was this case that unfortunately did get thrown out, and it was this woman who had an encounter with a male classmate. It was consensual at first, but then he went in the wrong hole. She did not consent to that, and at the time, I was like, I made a comment around, oh, well, she did consent to it, so that's why it got thrown out. Because once you consent to it, you can't say it's great just because they didn't go in the hole that you didn't want them to. Now, why did I say this? Because the same thing had happened to me. When I met my ex, he had taken my virginity and whatnot. So, of course, I didn't know much about sex. My parents were very conservative. They refused to really talk to me about it. And so, at the time, he and I were doing it, and then he went in the wrong hole. And, he told me about it, and he was like, well, you didn't have much of a reaction. So, I just kept going. So, there was no reason to stop. And at the time, I was like, you know, weird, and I did feel icky afterwards, but I was thinking to myself, well, I consented, so I can't really be upset about it, because again, no one really spoke to me about it, so I only had my own knowledge. And so, to my knowledge, if you consent, then it's fine. Then not too long after that, we were doing it again, and he put this oil on me. I did not know he put the oil on me, and he did it after we were done being physical. And it was an oil that was supposed to warm you up down there and get the woman's libido rising, because he thought it would be funny to see me turned on going back to school, because I had to go back to school after this happened. And he just thought it would just be this funny thing. And unfortunately, because I did not need that assistance, because it was for older women who could no longer get warm or moist down there, it just had me burning, and it was a very unpleasant feeling. Now, at the time, I did not know that that was SA, because again, I didn't know much about consent. Now, mind you, he was the only one I could talk to about it, because I knew little to nothing about sex. And again, conservative family, so they weren't going to be willing to talk to me about it. And then so he was like, oh, yeah, I'm sorry you felt bad about it, but your body belongs to me, because we were engaged. And he was like, your body belongs to me, so I'm allowed to do those things to you. And then he would coerce me into doing it multiple times afterwards, because again, he said my body belonged to him, and I didn't realize this was coercion at the time, because it would hurt, it was painful, and I was telling him this, and he was like, oh, but you can take it because you took it the first time and you didn't act like it hurt. But really, I was in shock from the whole thing. But I say all this to say, I tried to find the video where I made that comment, but it turns out almost all of those videos have been deleted off of YouTube, I guess because they realized it was in poor taste. And even though no one would be able to find that comment, I still want to take accountability for it, because I realized that I was wrong for it, but it was due to ignorance. And I can only imagine, if I had been canceled for that in this day and age, would people have believed me if I told them, well, I didn't know at the time? Because I didn't, because I was only going off of what I was being told. And, I just think it's also a lesson to parents and guardians. Speak to your kids about sex. Don't be, weirded out by it, because you think if you talk to them about it, then they'll be more interested to do it. Because who knows? And I hate to have to say it like this, but if you don't educate them on it, your daughter may have been raped or your son may have been raped, and they don't even know it.